Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly commodity show. This is where we do analysis on natural gas, oil, US dollar, gold, and silver. We'll be looking at their support and resistance levels, as well as the most likely scenario where price will head to for later this week. And if you guys are looking for the stock market update video, or to the S&P 500 as well as the Mag 7s, check out the video from yesterday, and let's get started on natural gas. If your chart looks a little bit different than mine, make sure you click this B80J, adjusted for contract changes down here, so your chart will look like mine. All right, so looks like that last week's potential breakout didn't happen, and we are still tightening up in our little descending triangle. So you can see resistance right here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So pretty much just grinding right underneath it, essentially, right? This looked like a 100 breakout last Friday, and it didn't happen this week. So you can see every single week this time we've been rejecting from essentially this line. So very, very important for bulls, bare minimum, right? That's close above this green line. See if we can break out of this descending triangle here. And for bears, if you are a bear, right, very clear support level right here. You want to break this. It's been holding for the last just since December. So yeah, very clear level around this 3.46 to 3.38 zone for bears to break. So a couple scenarios here. So as a bull, best case scenario, this just breaks above the green line, and we gotta break above all these pivots too as well, right? It can't just be like, okay, we break come out here, come out like all the way to here, and that's it, and then we roll over. That's not a breakout. We want to break this green line, the downtrending resistance, as well as all this resistance over here around this 3.78. If we can break above that, then I'll consider this as a breakout. And if we do come back to it, that means it's just a failed breakout. If we just come out to it, poke out, I wouldn't even count that as a breakout. So bare minimum for bulls, break above this 3.8. And probably will see some resistance around this $4 mark. And a slight pullback here wouldn't be surprising, and that would be the best case for bulls. And for bears, you just want to flush through here, crack through this 3.4 area. And then when we do back test it, continue for this downtrending line to act as resistance. Let's say we come down here, bounce a little bit, hits here, and then kind of rolls over again. So that would be the best case for bears. There's a couple scenarios where we might get potential. Let's say we flush down here, and then there's no more sellers. Kind of like a stop loss hunt where it stops everyone out, right? You gotta stop everyone out, flush a little bit more, and that's it. And then we get this kind of like a V shape reversal here, and that would also signal there's no more sellers here. That may potentially be a buy. If we, flush down, everyone out, and then V shape, break out of this line, that may be a entry here. And you just set your stop loss at that low, wherever that low was. So be cautious of that too. Doesn't mean we just break through here and it's game over for bulls or anything. Similar idea for that breakout here, right? We could come up, break out here, stop all the bears out, and then just kidding, come out and come below. So that's why breaking pivots is very important, and confirming trends as well is very important for a follow through. So yeah, so currently, let's see where this ends up breaking out. Right, we're pretty much at the end of the pattern, right? I mean, it could go like this. Let's hope not, because everyone will fall asleep. Yeah, it's pretty close to breaking out. We'll see which way it ends up breaking this week, essentially. All right, let's take a look at oil. So obviously, oil is triggered by the geopolitical news that we're having over the since Friday, as well as this week, over the weekend as well. So potentially, but technical wise, you can see even here, right? Resistance. I talked about this ascending triangle here that I've been having for a couple of weeks, and I said we just have to break above the 64, and then we'll likely come up to test back to this structure because the 64 structure right down here is below this entire sideways structure. So if we break above the 64, we're going to come back to this balance zone into this prior balance zone that we've been trading in for now 2 years. And it just happened to speed up the process when we got that geopolitical news when we broke above 64. And we pretty much visited 77, which is the top of right here. Very clear the resistance zone, which is the zone for the last year. So essentially, it's still in a sideways action overall. Yeah, if we get more escalation in the geopolitical news, maybe it will come back up again and then form some kind of sideways level around this higher zone here. We'll see if it ends up happening. But on the C, it's a ugly upper wick, but this is what happens in news, right? Even if you look at it, hourly pullback is not that significant at the moment. So it's very news driven at the moment, so be tough to trade. I wouldn't be surprised if we go a little bit sideways here. Yeah, but if we do break this resistance, we will be potentially looking back up around 82, 82.2 to 84 zone. If we do break above the 78, and it will still be a sideways action because very clear resistance here, support, right? Support and resistance, very clear in a longer run. So, all right, let's take a look at US dollar. If you guys want to learn more about technical analysis, feel free to check out my Patreon link for one-on-ones. And if you guys want to just talk about anything, come book that 15-minute free call and see if you guys want to learn anything. And feel free to like, share, subscribe. If you guys have made this far, you'll always support the channel, help the channel out. And let's continue with dollar. So dollar, it looks like it wants like holding on by like a thread. So this low essentially is, zoom out here. So we gotta go really far back. For the weekly chart. So essentially is pretty much this little weekly sideways action here on the spot. That's kind of like the last real. If we break there, then we're coming back down to this 96, which is the next little cluster of support there. This is going a little too far back, so I wouldn't really count that much. But it's a continuation of the weekly downtrend, essentially, right? We're in the weekly chart here. Right, weekly downtrend confirm. More follow through on the weekly downtrend. More follow through on the weekly downtrend. Another weekly lower high, lower low. And this could be an initial sign of a weekly lower low, lacking follow through on the weekly trend. And then we reverse from here. But the daily needs to shape up a little bit more balanced than just at 1 day for me to call it a no follow through at this moment. You want to see something like this. Drop, boom, V-shape. So it'll be something like we want to get it back above essentially 99, pretty much Monday or Tuesday. Gave us that no follow through on the weekly chart. And we potentially, if we can do that, then we're back looking up at 100 and potentially 1-to-1. But if this keeps following through, we'll likely visit. I'll zoom back all the way out again. We'll likely visit potentially down here again. So if we break here, which is last week's low, 97, we're gonna go head to 96.8. So that's the bear side. But again, geopolitical stuff, all this policies at the moment is affecting the dollar quite a bit. But overall, it's in a weekly downtrend, daily downtrend, everything downtrend. So, yeah, don't fight the trend. We are getting to that level where it's it should ask some support, right? But as long as the trend continues, it's gonna go with the least path resistance. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. See, so gold broke out last week. We talked about this. Broke out back test, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. Essentially, this tightening range. I've been looking at picking up, picking down, tightening up, gets tighter, and we broke bull last week. And that's just the back test. I think we talked about this. I think it was trading right here. Yeah, on Friday. Last Friday, it was right at the back test. And then it held this week. 1, 2 days, 3 days, and then we broke out. So it also helped kind of, the geopolitical news as well helped this follow through as well on Friday. Um, but it's still underneath this resistance. So if gold gets continuing follow through over the weekend on Sunday futures, right, and breaks out, then we probably visit all-time highs again. If we break this 3.5, 3.473, 3.5, pretty much 3.500 range, they were visiting all-time highs. It should be easy for bulls once we clear 1467 because there is no volume here. It's pretty much clear. Easy break all-time highs because there's no real resistance. So pretty much the last level is this 3471. So see if the bulls can do it. For bears, bare minimum for bears, you want to crack through at least some kind of structure, right? Even though this drop, it didn't really crack below any real structures. So if bears shows up, you need to at least be below this structure. So bare minimum drop to at least 3275, and then form a little bit of downtrend and break below this weekly pivot right here. This 3150 for any kind of follow through on bear side, to be honest. But essentially, use them on the weekly, right? Don't be a bear. Been saying this for ever since it's been grinding up. Just continuation of the trend. Weekly uptrend, monthly uptrend, monthly bull flags, daily uptrend, everything in an uptrend. So why fight the bears, right? You could have tried it a little bit over here and then get stopped out, right? There's a big enough drop where on this next bounce, it could be a lower high. So you would just say your stop there, but you would just get stopped out. But just be a team bull on something, a name like this, until it shows cracks in the charts. All right, let's see if silver gets still getting that relative strength here. Yeah, so lots of follow through here and relative strength. Last week we got that weekly bull flag confirm. So this is a weekly bull flag right here, and it broke out and confirmed. And it hit exactly pretty much here. I think we talked about this last week as well. This will likely act as a resistance when we do come up to it. Just this resistance, right? Rejection, 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 rejection. That looks like another one here. But so far, bulls are holding pretty good after the rejection, even though it's a big drop, right? But you can see this buyer stepping up right here, even though it was like a what? 3-4% drop, and then V shape right here. So best case for bulls, you get another kind of like consolidation sideways, kind of like a bull flag again. Let's see the weekly. Yeah, it would still be a bull flag. So as long as it doesn't retrace break below this pivot, then we should be fine on the bulls side. So what you want to see as a bull on silver is gold breaking to all-time highs, kind of slow grind up, and then silver making twice as much moves as gold, which is what it's supposed to do on both sides, which is good. You can see like 3 green candles right here. Wow. Gold was actually going red. And then did the slightly opposite here, which makes sense. It made a huge move. It wants to chill a little bit. So you want to see gold kind of grind to all-time highs, and this could potentially hold this level, go sideways a little bit, and then break out to Ideally, you can go sideways for both of them. That'll be the best case. And then when gold breaks the all-time highs, this breaks out as well at the same time. That'll be the best case. You want when you break out to new all-time highs, you want all the metals to do it at the same time. Get that sector relative strength. If you zoom out, no real resistance at the moment for silver. And we all had this, but this is like what 2012, so I don't really care about this structure here. If you're still holding silver from 2012 and you're bag holding, I mean, it's probably not gonna be that many people, but I hope not. But if you are, and then the resistance would be around next level would be 37.7, and we'll be looking at closer to 39.5. Get a breakout from here. Oh, we need to break above this green line first. This is the pretty much the resistance at the moment. Right, zoom back to the daily, very clear, rejection, 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 another one here. So, all right, that's all for you guys. So if you'd like, share, and subscribe, and if you guys made it this far or learned anything, always appreciate it. And have a great rest of you guys' weekend. I will see you guys next week for more stock market updates and commodities.